All right, let's talk about that voice in your head. You know the one that says, who do you think you are? The one that whispers, you're not ready, you're not good enough. Someone's going to call you out. Self-doubt doesn't kick the door down, it sneaks in quietly like a thief. And before you know it, you're second-guessing yourself, playing small, sitting on the sidelines of your own life. Here's the truth. Self-doubt isn't a personality trait. It's a learned response, one we pick up from past failures, from criticism, from a world that tells us to prove our worth before we believe in it. But today we're going to break it down, not with fluffy, just believe in yourself talk, but with real research-backed strategies that will help you shut it down for good. Let's get into it. Self-doubt is rooted in fear, not fact. Your brain is wired to protect you, not to help you thrive. Self-doubt is your survival instinct in overdrive, trying to keep you safe from failure or rejection. But safe doesn't mean happy. Safe doesn't mean fulfilled. Safe just means small. Here's what's really happening. Our brains are incredible at detecting threats. Back in the day, this was great because when the threat was a saber-toothed tiger, that little voice saying, maybe don't go over there, probably saved your life. But now the threats aren't wild animals. They're things like speaking up in a meeting, starting a new business, setting boundaries, going after something we really want. And instead of saying, this is uncomfortable, but I can handle it, our brain sends up a full-blown danger alert. The problem? Self-doubt doesn't distinguish between real danger and imagined danger. It reacts the same way whether you're about to get eaten by a lion or whether you're about to send an email that makes you feel vulnerable. It floods you with fear, makes your heart race, and convinces you that you should probably just not do the thing. And that's where we get stuck. But let's take a step back. Let's look at the facts. How many times have you doubted yourself, convinced that you were going to fail, only to be just fine? How many times has your mind played out the worst case scenario, and then when you actually did the thing, it turned out not even close to as bad as you imagined? That's because self-doubt is a terrible predictor of reality. It's loud, persuasive, and sometimes downright aggressive. But it's not true. It's not fact. It's just fear dressed up as logic. And here's where it gets even trickier. Self-doubt doesn't always sound like fear. Sometimes it sounds reasonable. It sounds like you should probably wait until you have more experience, or maybe this isn't the right time, or what if people don't take you seriously? It disguises itself as caution, as perfectionism, as responsibility. And so we listen to it. We convince ourselves we're being rational when really we're just afraid. But what if we flipped the script? What if instead of treating self-doubt as a red light, we saw it for what it actually is, a sign that we're pushing beyond our comfort zone? Because that's the thing, if you never feel self-doubt, you're probably not stretching yourself. You're probably playing it safe. Every single person I've ever met who's done anything meaningful, whether it's writing a book, launching a business, stepping into leadership, or even just choosing to live a more authentic life, has battled self-doubt. Every single one. It's not a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that you're trying. The goal isn't to eliminate self-doubt. That's impossible. The goal is to stop letting it make your decisions for you. Because if we let self-doubt call the shots, we will always choose comfort over courage. And comfort might feel good in the moment, but it doesn't lead to growth. So the next time that voice creeps in, the next time it whispers, you're not ready, or you're not good enough, pause, take a breath, and remind yourself this is just fear, not fact. And fear doesn't get to drive today. Perfectionism feeds self-doubt. We think if we get everything just right, we'll finally feel confident. But perfectionism doesn't eliminate self-doubt. It fuels it. The more we chase impossible standards, the more we convince ourselves we'll never measure up. Confidence isn't built through perfection. It's built through action. Here's where perfectionism tricks us. It convinces us that if we can just work harder, prepare more, control every possible outcome, then maybe we'll finally feel worthy. But that's not how it works. Perfectionism isn't about being perfect, it's about avoiding shame. It's the belief that if we can perform flawlessly, if we can anticipate every mistake before it happens, then we can avoid criticism, failure, and the gut-wrenching feeling of not being enough. The problem? Perfectionism doesn't prevent shame, it guarantees it. Because no matter how hard we try, perfection is an illusion. And when we inevitably fall short, it doesn't just feel like we made a mistake. It feels like we are the mistake. I've seen this pattern over and over. People say, I'm just a perfectionist, like it's a quirky personality trait. But when you dig deeper, it's not about high standards. It's about fear. Fear of being judged, fear of being rejected, fear that if we don't do things perfectly, we won't be worthy of love, respect, or success. And let's talk about how perfectionism actually plays out in real life. It's not just working hard, it's procrastinating because you're afraid you won't do it perfectly. It's rewriting an email 5 times before you send it. It's staying quiet in a meeting because you're afraid you'll say the wrong thing. It's getting stuck in analysis paralysis where you spend so much time trying to figure out the best way that you never actually start. Perfectionism doesn't move us forward, it keeps us stuck. And here's the hardest part. Perfectionism is seductive. It gives us this false sense of control. We tell ourselves, if I just work a little harder, I can avoid failure. But failure isn't the enemy. The real enemy is never trying at all. Research shows that the most resilient people, the ones who take risks, who innovate, who live fully, aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who fail and keep going. They don't wait for confidence before they take action, and that builds confidence. So what's the alternative? If we're not striving for perfection, does that mean we just settle, lower our standards? Not at all. It means we shift our focus. Instead of aiming for perfect, we aim for real. Instead of avoiding mistakes at all costs, we embrace them as part of the process. The irony is, when we stop obsessing over perfection, we actually get better. We take more chances, we put our ideas out there, we let ourselves be seen, and that's where real growth happens. So the next time perfectionism creeps in, when you catch yourself overthinking, over-editing, or holding back because you're afraid of not getting it just right, pause, take a breath, and remind yourself, you don't have to be perfect to be worthy. You just have to be brave enough to start. Comparison is the fastest way to kill confidence. Social media, workplaces, even friendships, we're constantly measuring ourselves against others. And here's the kicker. We compare our behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. If you want to shut down self-doubt, you have to stay in your own lane. Let's get honest. How many times have you scrolled through your phone, seen someone crushing it, and thought, well, great, I'm officially behind. I should be doing more. I should be further along. I should have it all figured out by now. Comparison sneaks in fast. It doesn't tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, let's tear down your self-worth today. No, it starts small. It starts with a quick glance at someone else's success, a lingering thought that maybe they have something you don't. And before you know it, you're knee-deep in a spiral of self-doubt, wondering if you're enough, if you're doing enough, if you'll ever be enough. But here's what we forget when we compare. We're only seeing the curated version of someone else's life, the polished product, the highlight reel. No one posts their worst moments. No one wakes up and thinks, you know what? Let me share a picture of myself completely lost, overwhelmed, and questioning everything. And yet we take their best moments and measure them against our worst ones. We see their wins and forget that they too have struggled, doubted, failed. We assume they have it all figured out while we're still fumbling in the dark. It's not a fair fight. Research shows that comparison triggers feelings of inadequacy, anxiety, and even depression. The more we compare, the worse we feel about ourselves. And what's even wilder, we don't just compare ourselves to people who are wildly successful, we compare ourselves to people in our own circle, our colleagues, our friends, even our siblings. It's called comparison proximity, and studies show that the closer someone is to us, the more likely we are to feel threatened by their success. Let's pause there for a second, because if we don't check this, comparison can turn into resentment. It can make us bitter. It can make us root against people we love just because their success feels like proof of our own failure. And that's where we have to stop and ask ourselves, am I actually falling behind, or am I just measuring myself against a race I was never meant to run? Because here's the truth, we all have different timelines, different paths, different strengths, and just because someone else is thriving doesn't mean you're failing. Just because their journey looks different doesn't mean yours isn't valuable. The only way to shut down comparison is to shift your focus back to your own lane. to ask yourself, am I growing? Am I learning? Am I taking steps toward the life I want? Because that's what actually matters. Not whether you're ahead or behind someone else, but whether you're becoming the person you're meant to be. So the next time you catch yourself in the comparison trap, pause, take a breath, and remind yourself, their success is not my failure. I'm on my own path, and that's exactly where I'm supposed to be. The stories we tell ourselves shape our reality. When we're filled with doubt, we don't just experience it, we start believing it. We tell ourselves stories. I'm not smart enough. I don't belong here. I always mess things up. But those stories, they're not facts. They're just thoughts, and we have the power to rewrite them. Here's what happens. Something triggers our self-doubt, maybe a mistake at work, a weird look from someone, or a moment where we feel out of our depth. And instead of just sitting with that discomfort, our brain rushes in to explain it, to make sense of it. Oh, that didn't go well? It must be because I'm not good at this. They didn't respond to my text? I must have said something wrong. That opportunity passed me by, probably because I wasn't ready anyway. Without even realizing it, we start crafting stories, and not the kind that inspire us, the kind that hold us back, the kind that reinforce our fears instead of our strengths. Neuroscience backs this up. Our brains are wired for storytelling. The second we don't have all the information, our mind fills in the blanks. And it doesn't always fill them in with the truth. It fills them in with the worst possible version of events. Here's the kicker. Those stories shape how we see ourselves. If we keep telling ourselves we're not enough, we start acting like we're not enough. If we keep believing we don't belong, we shrink ourselves. If we keep replaying failures, we start avoiding risks altogether. But here's the good news. If we have the power to write these stories, we also have the power to rewrite them. I call it fact-checking your self-doubt. The next time you catch yourself spiraling, stop and ask, is this actually true, or is this just a story I'm telling myself? Because 9 times out of 10, it's not the truth. It's just a fear-based narrative. And when we bring it into the light, when we challenge it, we take away its power. I've seen this play out so many times. A friend doesn't get the job they wanted, and the story becomes, I'm not talented enough. A woman speaks up in a meeting, and when her idea gets overlooked, the story becomes, I'm not leadership material. A person finally puts themselves out there, whether it's a creative project, a relationship, or a dream they've been holding on to, and the first sign of rejection turns into, I should have known better. But what if we stopped making failure mean something about who we are? What if we stopped tying rejection to our self-worth? What if we started telling truer stories? Not, I'm not good enough, but I'm learning. Not, I don't belong here, but I'm growing into this. Not, I always mess things up, but I made a mistake and I can move forward. Our words matter. The way we talk to ourselves matters. Because the stories we tell ourselves don't just shape how we feel, they shape what we believe is possible. So the next time self-doubt creeps in, pause, take a breath, and rewrite the story. Because you are so much more than the fear trying to hold you back. Confidence isn't something you have, it's something you build. We wait for confidence like it's a permission slip. Like one day we'll wake up and it'll just be there. But confidence doesn't show up first, courage does. And courage is messy, it's shaky hands, a pounding heart, and showing up before you feel ready. Think about a time you did something scary for the first time. Maybe it was speaking in public, starting a new job, or setting a boundary that felt uncomfortable. Did you feel confident before you did it? Probably not. You might have felt anxious, self-conscious, maybe even a little sick to your stomach, but you did it anyway. And the next time, it was a little easier. And the time after that, a little easier still. That's how confidence works. It's not something you magically have. It's something you earn by doing hard things. And yet we tell ourselves, I'll go after that dream when I feel more confident. I'll speak up when I feel ready. I'll take that step when I'm sure I won't fail. But confidence doesn't come before the leap. It comes because of it. There's research to back this up. Studies show that taking action, even when we're scared, rewires our brain. Every time we push through discomfort and prove to ourselves that we can handle it, our brain registers that success and stores it for the future. It's called the confidence-competence loop. The more we do something, the more skilled we become, and the more skilled we become, the more confident we feel. But here's the catch. You can't think your way into confidence. You have to act your way into it. I see this all the time. People with incredible ideas, talent, and potential waiting on the sidelines because they think confidence is a prerequisite. They think successful people just have confidence. But the truth? The people who seem the most confident aren't the ones who never feel self-doubt. They're the ones who feel it and keep going anyway. They're the ones who say, I'm scared, but I'm showing up. I don't feel ready, but I'm doing it anyway. I might fail, but I'm going to try. And every time they take that risk, every time they step outside their comfort zone, they build real confidence. Confidence that isn't based on never failing, but on knowing they can handle it when they do. So if you're waiting to feel ready, stop waiting. If you're waiting to be 100% sure, stop waiting. The only way to become more confident is to do the thing that scares you. Take the step. Raise your hand. Have the hard conversation. Put your work out into the world. It won't feel comfortable. It won't feel easy. But that's the point. Confidence isn't something you wait for. It's something you create. And the only way to build it is to show up before you feel ready, before you have all the answers, before you're sure you won't fail. Because confidence doesn't come from waiting. It comes from doing. Self-doubt will always try to creep in. It will whisper that you're not ready, not enough, not as capable as the people around you. But here's the truth. You don't have to eliminate self-doubt to move forward. You just have to stop letting it make your decisions. You are not your fears. You are not your past mistakes. You are not the critical voice in your head telling you to play small. You are the moments of courage, the steps you take even when you're unsure, the resilience you show every time you refuse to let doubt win. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop comparing your path to someone else's. Stop believing the stories that tell you you're not enough. You are enough right now as you are. And the only thing standing between you and the life you want isn't whether you feel confident. It's whether you're willing to take the leap anyway. You've got this. Go be brave. And good luck.